What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay Rich, back to bring you your MLB props for May the 30th. If you were following along 2 days ago on Saturday, you must have made some money. I gave out 4 picks sort of, and I had 7 on the board that I showed you guys, and literally all of them hit. The only one that didn't was JD Martinez, who pushed. So if you tailed those plays, hopefully you made some really good money off of that. And I am back today looking at the night slate. I was, away doing some stuff for Memorial Day, hanging out with family, all that kind of stuff. But I am back, and I'm here to give you a few props I like today. I got a core 2 that I really like, and there's a couple other guys that could be interesting depending on how the game plays out. So let's dive into it right now. So we're starting off with Ke'Bryan Hayes, who came up as the highest on the model today. Main reason why, he's up against Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler, the ace for the Dodgers, spectacular pitcher, but like I've talked about before, when some of these ace pitchers go up against certain teams, they get really buffed down. So Ke'Bryan Hayes, and as you see as well, Josh Van Meter, another player for the Pittsburgh Pirates, literally has a projection on PrizePicks right now of 3.5 points, which is one of the lowest we've ever seen. Back when Nate Lowe was really struggling, he had a 3.5 projection. But Josh Van Meter averaging 6.3 over his last 14 days. I mean, Walker Buehler's good. Is he this good? Is he going to completely stifle this Pittsburgh offense? Potentially. And that's the only reason why we wouldn't take these guys. If you believe Walker Buehler is so good that Pittsburgh's not going to be able to do anything against him, then you just fade him, right? They're looking at 1 or 2 runs, possibly, potentially, and you're praying Ke'Bryan Hayes gets one of those runs. You're praying Van Meter gets one of those runs, at which point, of course, they would probably go over with only a 4.5 and 5.5 total. As you can see right here, you have, pitch factor that's about neutral. Walker Buehler does allow some stuff, but not a ton, and nothing crazy to push the over. Park factor is relatively neutral as well. The P-Val that I added for Ke'Bryan Hayes is actually pretty good, so slightly plus matchup for him. He does hit fastballs pretty well, and for Van Meter, a little bit lower because his off-speed stuff doesn't hit quite well. But again, this is what you get. When you're going up against Walker Buehler, you will get a modest line, but they still have to pull through for you. So they're not necessarily going to be in the core plays, but I wanted to show them to you guys because they still do have some of the highest edges on the slate, and because, like I've talked about, it's a low total. They can get there. It's just, do they get there, and do we trust them? I would probably trust Hayes a little bit more. He bats higher in the order. He does have to get driven in, though, if he gets on base, and that's where it runs into some issues, is can Pittsburgh ultimately manufacture runs against Walker Buehler to where Ke'Bryan Hayes, if he does get a single, or heaven forbid a double, then he is over anyways. But if he hits a single, can someone actually drive him in? Can he draw a walk and then, do more on top of that? That's where you run into issues with some of these lines, is they have to do a little bit more than nothing, a little bit more than just a hit to go over on these projections. But let's get into a guy we're actually playing today in Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts, man, dude is on a supreme tear right now. One of the hottest hitters in the majors. Right now, for me, it's between him and Paul Goldschmidt, who also homered today and was, very high on these projection systems. But he's already played, so I took him out of the list. Didn't bother with that. But Mookie Betts up against Zach Thompson today. Slightly plus matchup for him there. Park factor, okay, playing in Dodger Stadium. And more importantly, the P-Val, like I talked about, is extremely high. I've been testing this a little bit, and I've been looking for numbers that for around a 5.5 plus is where I'm really interested in some of these guys. Not to say that like a 3 isn't good or a 2 isn't good. It's still positive, which is good. But with Betts, seeing a 5.8 is extremely high. I think the highest number I've seen is like an 8 or a 9, like just insanely high. And part of that is because some of these pitchers have really bad fastballs, and if they throw it a lot and they have a bad fastball, then that number is multiplied over and over. But again, that's ultimately what we're looking for, is how do you find these advantages? And as you can see, Betts over here, really good against fastballs and really good against cutters, which are and changeups as well. Again, like I talked about last time, he is positive in every single pitch that gets thrown his way, and that's one of the main reasons why I do like Mookie Betts against Zach Thompson, and I will definitely be playing him. And then the next guy is Randy Arozarena, who has a 76% edge, only a projection of 6. I'm projected for 10.6 or so. The issue is the pitch value. He has a -2, which, as I mentioned, is not good. The main reason why is he's not hitting fastballs very well this season. If he does get a slider, he will be in better shape. But Glenn Otto does have a pretty good fastball and has been throwing it supremely well compared to what we kind of expected from him coming into the year. So not to say you can't play a Arozarena. The Rays have been okay. They kind of struggled against the Yankees in some games. They really struggled in certain games. It's against some of those pitchers we saw. Garrett Cole had a great game against them. Jameson Taillon and then Nestor Cortez all gave them fits, but they did get through and did get a couple of wins in that series against the Yankees. Now they're up against Texas, in Texas, which is good. We know the ball really flies in Texas, so I don't hate a Rosarena. 6 is a very modest projection. He is projected to go over. I think he's more of a flex play option personally if I was placing my bets. And last but not least, cannot forget about JD Martinez. I mean, what do you want me to say? The dude is just on fire right now, up against Tyler Wells. His projection's only 7.5. I think there's a really good shot he goes over. You see, on top of this, he has actually homered off of Wells once. So he's only had 2 at-bats against him, homered off him in one of those at-bats. So that's an encouraging sign, right? You like to see that history. I think Martinez is on the way down a little bit. He's been really, really hot, and that's why his projection isn't quite as high. He's coming down. He had a okay series against Baltimore, had a couple really good games, but again, this is the final game. We'll see what ultimately happens, but he should be in another good spot up against Wells. Wells is a good pitcher, not great pitcher. He's pitched surprisingly well this year, but I believe more of his starts have come at home, where Baltimore's ERA is significantly lower than they are on the road. So that's why I'm not all in on Wells. I'm not fading Martinez because of Wells more particularly. So I will be willing to put him in some plays. So we'll definitely be looking at JD Martinez and Mookie Betts. And as you can see, the pitch factor is a driving point here, where you see a 4.9 for Martinez and a 5.8 for Betts. For guys who are already projected over, just another reason for me to say, yep, I should probably take that guy. He's probably in a good spot to go over in this matchup. So those are kind of the 2 guys I'm looking at. I don't hate Hayes as well if you want to flex him in. I don't hate a Rosarena if you want to flex him in. But those guys are very questionable plays. I'd probably just power play Betts and Martinez for the night slate. And if you want to add in a Trey Turner or a Freddie Freeman with that Dodgers stack, you will have to get another player in there. That other player would probably be JD Martinez for my money. But if you do want to stack Dodgers, the Dodgers are in a really good spot tonight and are probably going to honestly beat down Zach Thompson, but we'll see, right? You never know. Every day is different in baseball. We're not always going to hit every play, and sometimes you think a game's going way over and it goes way under. So these are kind of the ebbs and flows of baseball, but this is the plays I'm looking at today. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And as always, if you tail, give them hell. And if we fail, do not bail. I'll be back tomorrow dropping some more MLB plays a little bit earlier in the day, covering the full slate. I'll be back tomorrow, but I'm out. Peace.